So search engine optimization deals in optimizing one's website to kind of get more ranking, because people nowadays are no longer going into the, because when you search, right, you're no you're not long you are not clicking onto the next pages of Google, right? There are a ton of pages, there are a ton of results that you're searching for, but the main thing that you can take away here is you're just consuming the content just from the first pages of Google, right? But there are a ton of websites out there, right? So these all websites are vying and competing to get on the on the first pages of Google. So that's where we come in as SEOs, right? Search engine optimization. Moving forward, just discussing the overall facets of a SEO, we could break it down into two major factions, which is the on-page SEO and the off-page SEO. Okay, so discussing what on-page SEO is these are the factors that we have control over, meaning it's within the website, right? So the direct SEO factors like page title, right? What is a page title? It's the title of the page that you're seeing. Actually, just to give more details about this, when you go over to Google, right? So let's say, for example, you search in SEO tutorial, something like that. This is the page title that you'll be seeing. So this is one of the direct SEO factors that affects SEO. Why? Because people, um, this is the first thing that people would be reading off of the searches that they will be conducting, right? So if the title is not matching your actual query in Google, then of course you wouldn't click onto it because that's not the information that you're looking for, right? So the page title is very is I would say it's the most basic foundation of on-page SEO. The page title, it really affects your rankings and whatnot. So for us to optimize these page titles, we would need to be considerate of what the keywords we are trying to rank for. We would need to put that inside uh, the page title itself, right? But then again, it depends on what the purpose of the page is, right? Let's say, for example, you're trying to rank your homepage, right? So for home pages, I suggest that you include what your niche is about. Let's say, for example, you're a dental in Chatswood, so dentists in Chatswood. If you search for that, right? So if you can see here, this is the branding, and it also includes what niche you are in. So it conveys the whole message of who you are, including your branding and including your, in this case, your locality and your own niche and your own business, right? So moving forward is the site speed, of course. The site speed affects nowadays because people doesn't really want to wait. If a page loads any longer than 5 seconds, then people just tend to go out of the web page, right there. They don't even try to wait for it. So people want to see the information quick and fast. So site speed is a very important factor as well, and that is a direct SEO factor. Another one is CTR. What that is that is click
Genesis,
through rate.
I would just,
Mm-hmm.
when you are saying about site speed, so could you just
Mm-hmm.
tell me how can we increase the site speed? I mean, there are websites which are loading in 5 seconds, 6 seconds. So what are the cases, what are the reasons why the speed goes down, and how can we increase that speed?
That's a great question. Now, thank you. For site speed, though, usually, the major factor that affects those are the media that loads inside a website. So, for example, if your website, let me just hop into Google real quick to give a quick example. So, something like a website that has high definition images, so something like this, it loads longer than 5 seconds, right? As we're seeing right now, you can just count with me here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? It's still not loaded yet. So
Yeah.
the reason why is because there are a ton of elements that's the website. and your internet is trying to load at the same time. um so we need to cut down and optimize these images and other media as well. So you could be working on with together with your developer to kind of get that sweet spot of an image, right? So the image tends to be um we need to get the image right around 200 kilobytes only for us to see, because when you see this website, these images and these factors like this one, oh, sorry, this one. Yeah, it's a high quality image, but it's affecting how the site is loading, right? And if you want to dive deeper into, kind of cutting your site speed and getting your page to load faster, you could use tools like GP metrics and just plug in your website there, and it will just spew out um the factors that are affecting your website, be it code, be it images, and it will give you a summarized detail of how you and your developer could cut down on the load times of your website.
Okay, great.
Great. So yeah, is that all good now?
Yes, yes, please continue.
Yeah, thank you for that wonderful question. All right, so moving forward, yeah, again with CTR, that's click-through rates, and that is the main SEO factor, the direct factor. What that means is your click-through rate, because people, again, going back to Google for the search results, right? SEO tutorials. These are the search results, right? All these listings, right? So when I say click through rate, is this when you actually click onto the listing in Google search engine result pages, right? So that is a click through, meaning how could you improve people going into, because you already listed in the search results, right? So how could you entice more people to click into your posting and into something like this? Well, we've discussed page title earlier, right? And the other one is your meta description. The description over here is called meta description, right? So I type my query here is SEO tutorial, right? So when you include um, synonyms or what we call LSI, just to give a brief overview of what LSI is, LSI is just an abbreviation for latent semantic indexing. What that just means is that those words or terms are related to what you're searching. Take this for example. As I've typed in SEO tutorial, but as you see here, um, the meta description is bolds the some of the keywords that is listed or is related to what you are actually searching. So SEO, and SEO is bolded here. Search engine, yeah, that's for SEO as well. Also here tutorial is being bold, so it kind of gives you the feeling that, hey, okay, this might be the one that I'm looking for, because it's already spewing out, giving out me the detail that the page title that says it's a tutorial and the description of it says it's also a tutorial. So it goes hand in hand in enticing for us users, for any search engine users, right, to click on your listing in here. So that's improving your click through rate. All right, so that's one major on-page SEO factor as well. And the last bit that I listed here is content. Now, this might be a good topic, to kind of discuss in a more broader way, but just to give you again an overview for how you could rank more for content, because we have a lot of ways for us to rank for keywords, and content is one of the most impactful ways of doing it. We could be hitting or building our authority. We could be building our trust with the audience, providing more value to our target audience and whatnot, because we create the content that readers, our target audience. For example, let's say I'm an SEO coach. I would like to give knowledge uh, to the people out there, right? But at the same time, I also want for them to hire me as their SEO coach or something like that, then I would be creating content that creates my own authority. So for example, I would be writing content like this one, right? Writing content and tips about how to do SEO, right? On a more in-depth level, so to speak, in that said piece of content. So um yeah, speaking of content, um we just need to take note that uh if we have a specific keyword to target, we don't necessarily want to, because we're talking about the website as a whole here now, okay? If you want to, let's say for example, rank for the best SEO, you're actually advertising yourself as the best SEO out there. Of course, not for the website as a whole to rank for you're an SEO expert and spew it out. Of course, there's a ton of competition out there. You would need a ton of content actually to build that up for you, right? So you don't necessarily just need to create one piece of content. It will be a successive content strategy, building up your authority, building up your relevancy towards that topic as a whole. Just to show you an example of this, uh, for me, for one, if I'm dealing more with uh keyword rankings and whatnot, what I tend to do is I create what's called a content calendar. Let me show you an example of that real quick because I really want to at least kind of get over with that. Uh, Something like this. Okay, so this is a kind of a content calendar, but um, if we are to create a content calendar, we need to kind of group the keywords up. Let me show you a better example. Hold on, I'm very sorry about that. Okay, this is a very good example, like this one. So for example, I'm dealing with a website that we would want to rank for car accident attorneys, right? So I create a pillar or of which a long form content is there, and then I create sub levels of those content to kind of support the bigger content that we have here, right? So yeah, but then again, these are just topics that could be inside your bigger content. But then again, you're kind of building it step by step, once smaller step at a time, to kind of be ranking for the said big keywords, right? Because if you want to rank for a big competitive keyword, we would need to rank for the long tail keywords at first. So long tail keywords such as uh, like this one, uh, how failure to field accidents occur. So keywords like that, question-based keywords, are real great to start with, especially if the website is kind of new and you don't have any content going on. So kind of target those long tail keywords to generate traction and build your own strategy from that. All right. So yeah, before we go any further, yeah, I thought I think I just went overboard with the content, but do we have any questions before I go on to discussing more the meat of the off page?
So, guys, you can all put your question and answers in the question and answer tab. So, meanwhile, Genesis is telling us, but you can still go on and write us the questions so that if we can, we will take in the middle of the session or we can take at the end of the session. So, Genesis, this is the content calendar that you've told. That is a good takeaway for me because I think when we start writing, we are just in the random mode and we start writing the articles on daily basis or on a weekly basis. But
Mm-hmm.
when we actually have the calendar ready with us, I think we have more strategy ready and how we have to put out our content. So I would say that this is a takeaway for me. This is the best part of it.
Yeah, thank you, thank you. Yeah, of course, we need to create that game plan, of course, and what keywords what we're actually targeting. Because if we want to rank for competitive keywords, keywords that high competition and higher volume per se, we couldn't really. directly compete with the begins that is already ranking for those kind of keywords. But then again, in the long run, we can compete, but we need to kind of take it one step at a time by creating articles that would be relevant for us to be ranking for those said higher volume keywords. So, yeah, a content calendar should be in place for that. At least you have that kind of strategy built into your campaign. So yeah, thank you for that. And do we
We
have
have
any
a
question?
question from Sherwin.
Mm-hmm.
What is the difference between on-page SEO and technical SEO? Are they similar?
Oh, nice question. So basically, on page as technical SEO should is also considered on page SEO, but because again, technical SEO is something that deals with your website itself, right? So for example, one technical bit would be, of course, site speed would be considered one of that, because if you have codes in there that's not really helping you with the site speed and whatnot, then technically that is a technical SEO bit. Also, um, schema is a part of that. Um, schema.org, it helps you build it helps you, it helps actually not your website but the Google crawlers or the search crawlers rather, to kind of see and the mapping of your content in your website. So sitemap is another technical one, but sitemap is generally uh just generated by plugins and whatnot, but you could also do it manually. But if you could save time, then why not just use a plugin, right? So a sitemap could also be considered a technical bit of SEO. And I also consider this because some tools out there, if you run any diagnosis or analysis on your web pages or your website, it also considers the HTML to text ratio, meaning your code versus the actual content that's on the website. So if your content is thin, it means that the your browser is just loading the codes and whatnot, but you're not conveying anything with regards to your keywords, your services, and who you are as a business. So hand in hand, those are some of just the technical aspects of the on-page SEO. Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah, did I answer your question, or
Yes, you
do you
did.
need more?
I hope, Sherwin, you have got your answer. Okay, we have
Uh,
another question, but I would want you to continue and then we pick up.
sure. All right. So moving forward, yeah, I'm sorry about that because I know you might be interested in this other stuff, but we need to kind of move forward. Um, moving forward with off-page SEO. So what is off-page SEO? So basically, these are the factors outside your website. So that means you're off page or off your website, right? So basically, it deals with your backlink profile. What do you mean by backlink profile? Well, a backlink profile is uh I think of it on a layman's term. This is how I explain it. So, just to dumb the jargons down, um, this is kind of your referral network. Say, for example, you're an ID expert, right? And you're looking for clients, and then one of your prospect and one hot lead is looking for the services like yours, and he encounters one of his friends, or probably he's in the school, and the janitor knows me that I'm an IT expert and then refers me to you as an IT expert. Now that might be some sort of a relevant referral, but compared it to a referral having, let's say for example, if Bill Gates suddenly just referred me to a lot of his clients, right? Then that would be a much more meaningful referral, right? So
Correct.
that's how your backlink profile works. So your backlink profile needs to be uh, a network or a system of wherein relevant websites are linking back to you because they trust you or they kind of refer you. So let's say for example, um, of course, we're on the SEO niche, right? Everybody knows Neil Patel and Brian Dean. Those are authority figures, right? So those two guys are kind of also my idols in the SEO field, right?
Like mine.
Um, yeah, of course. Those are the heavy guns, if you will. So those two guys also just keep on referring on each other. That way, they're also building their network because they're kind of referring to each other as the authorities in these niches. They're kind of building up e- each other. So that's a good referral system right there. So that's how you should compose of your backlink profile for your website. So take for example, if you're a digital marketing agency. Let's say, for example, I just launched my own website.
Mhm.
Of course, if I got a referral link from Neil Patel or Brian Dean from Backlinko, then of course those referrals would mean a lot to my website, and it gives off signal to to users, to Google, and to pretty much every set of eyes out there that I am a credible source, right? On the other hand, if I just get backlinks or I get referred by an unknown brand or unknown website there that doesn't have any traffic at all, to the eyes of viewers, to the eyes of Google, it doesn't reflect much. It doesn't really carry that weight as a referral link. But don't get me wrong, that those referrals you would still take because again, you're starting to build out your website. If again your website is just starting out, right? So yeah, kind of building on this knowledge, we can start to get to know on how to start building our links towards our website. So how do we do that? Okay, so how do we qualify links? Okay, besides to the fact that we need links from websites that are relevant to your own niche, yeah, to your own topics, to your own authority or your own field. Um, there are a ton of metrics out there, really, but we have to take this with a grain of salt, actually, because most of the link builders out there just tend to rely too much on these metrics. We can rely on them, but again, I don't. In my experience, I don't want to heavily rely on this because, let's for example, let's take Moses DA structure, the domain authority that Moz has. Let me show you the example for that. Let's go into a website. Let's try, you know, search any random website here. So let's say, for example, this one. Okay. So let's just load it for a second here. I don't know if it's my internet or their website, but it's kind of loading slow.
So till then, I ask one question. Genesis,
Mm-hmm.
it is considered, it is said that SEO, say for example, global SEO and then local SEO. So how to start ranking higher? Local SEO in the sense that SEO for Denmark. So Google for Denmark is there. Google for Germany is there. So how to rank higher in that SEO and how to rank global SEO? Could you just put little light here?
I'm sorry, I didn't quite get the question. You're kind of cutting off there. Could you repeat it?
So, like, see, Google is there for, if we consider the search engine Google, so Google
Mm-hmm.
is for Denmark, Google is also there separate. And there is one global, google.com. And the
Mm-hmm.
other one is google.de, say, for example, for
Mm-hmm.
Denmark.
Mm-hmm.
So, if I say that I want to rank higher on google.de
Mm-hmm.
and other than google.com, then are the strategies any different or is it the same strategies that we apply?
Well, it kind of is the same, but you have to take it in a different angle. So let's say, for example, let's take your example, right? If you are a local website, right? So let's say, for example, you're a chiropractor in Belgium, right? So chiropractor.de would be a much better suited website for you to rank for in the local area as compared to a .com. Again, that's also one of the factors. But speaking of local SEO, then that will dwell more on with your keywords for the specific vicinity. and also your GMB, your Google My Business, right? So if you have presence, you need to establish. Speaking of local, you need to establish your authority within the said vicinity. Say, for example, take a city, or probably if you're just on a national level, you will need to establish that as well. Because if you don't cater to a global audience, then that's a different approach on there. But then again, most of the tactics here are fundamentally the same, but you just have to take a different approach on that. Taking example for the local question that you have there, my suggestion is you should be optimizing more of your Google My Business listing to kind of establish the results locally, and get more traffic locally, because that will be your target market, right? So, and also creating more landing pages for specific cities within your vicinity, right?
Language also plays an important role here, right?
I'm sorry?
The language by on which your website has been made. So if it is locally, if the language is there, the local language is also embedded there, then I think that will also help in ranking higher on the local SEO.
Yeah, of course, of course. Um, because English is actually the universal language, but you would rank even faster if you put it in your own native tongue, in your own native language. Let's say, for example, I did an audit back then for a website that's in what do you call this, in Saudi Arabian language.
Mhm.
So they are actually ranking on the top searches of Google within their country, but they haven't done any SEO per se. They just created the website, and there's not much competition within their language.
Correct.
So yeah, you could also take that into consideration. But then again, if your market is more global, then you could probably create a separate subdomain that would contain an English language or any other language per se, to kind of just get and funnel that traffic, uh, catering to a specific country or specific location.
Perfect. Perfect. Yeah.
Oh, great questions. Yeah, so going back, this is the topic that is I'm discussing earlier. The If you can see in my screen here, this website just loaded. The DA, or the domain authority for the website, is 59, so that is actually quite high. So again, that is just one metric for this. But then again, if you're using other stuff or other tools like, I have opened my Ahrefs here. This is another tool that I use. It's ahrefs.com. They have another metric that instead of being called the domain authority, it's being called the domain rating. So guys, just take note. These are just kind of guiding metrics, but you don't necessarily uh use them as your sole metric in qualifying links. Again, some websites out there have high DA, but they actually don't have any traffic. So if they don't have any traffic, then you won't get any referral links. But you won't be getting any extracting any visitors from them. But there are also some still advantages in landing links with high authority, meaning this website, Google considers them to be an authority on the said niche that they're talking about. So having a referral with them is also nice. But if we're aiming for the holy grail of backlinks here, of course we would want them to have an authority of their own and also traffic of their own, so we could get both ranking and also the traffic from the said website that we're trying to land backlinks on. All right, so yeah, just okay. So that kind of covers how we could be qualifying links. So how do we land backlinks? Does anyone from the audience have experience in building backlinks already, or any questions for that?
It will be good if you can explain how to build that.
Yeah, sure. Okay, so if we start building relationships with a website, this is how we generally um, try to contact them. There are a ton of ways, especially Brian Dean. I also learned a ton of from him in how to kind of create your own way of dealing or link building towards landing backlinks per se, right? But this what I'm showing in my screen right now is one of my initial tactics that I usually go to with. Um, but this is kind of outdated. But just to give you an example, right? So you've seen a website that you already vetted for. So in this case, it's mydeal.com.au because my client is designerplantsaustralia.au. So I'm trying to land links from a relevant website and also the traffic that kind of shares the same traffic that you have or target audience as you have. Because again, people from their website might be going to your website. At least if you have the same target audience there, then probably you can convert them easily, well, right? So I start off by building um, kind of a repertoire towards the site owners because you'll be contacting them, right? So I usually start, of course, with a greeting. Who am I, and who am I from? So kind of a brief overview of the website or the company that you're kind of representing from where you are with, right? So I mentioned here that we blog about plants and whatnot, and I mentioned directly the reason why I contacted them, right? So I'm reaching out to you to say that I really had a great time reading some of your blogs, kind of showing them that you actually read the blogs and kind of commenting and just creating this conversation or conversational starting piece, if you will. So and then by then I try to steer that conversation into the content pieces that actually I compose in accordance to their own website. So for these guys, I kind of review their own website and see any content gaps that they might not have covered or topics that they might have not covered yet. So I list those topics, kind of do a little bit of research. Again, just providing value when you try to contact these websites. Because again, a ton of people, they will also be receiving a ton of emails from the same people. So what are some of the ways that we could to attract them is to, of course, give them value in suggesting out of this world topics or topics that groundbreaking rules, groundbreaking coverages, right? Um, excuse me. So yeah, these are some of the suggestions that I have for the said website, and I ended with there. Or in a more advanced relationship building with websites, I also follow one of the authorities in this space. I think his name is Ryan Dice. I don't know if or Ryan Stewart. I don't know if I have been confused, but those guys talk about taking a one-on-one or one-to-one approach for this website. So something like this. All right. So especially in these times because again we're in a pandemic, right? This is my own take on a one-on-one approach to a certain website because again, um you can certainly have your own twist when you approach someone, right? So for me, I try to establish a conversation starter at first by um knowing what's going on with them, what's keeping them busy on behind this pandemic and whatnot, and kind of just giving more into a conversational starter. As I mentioned here, on my end, this pandemic has given me the opportunity to read and digest more from the topics that they're covering. So that's how you find their blog and whatnot, and you kind of just uh, comment on how. I don't suggest that you give out generic comments here. You just dig in deep and genuinely be interested and get show appreciation to them because that's how you really get a conversation starting. Kind of building that relationship is you being genuinely interested in what they read because again they're putting effort, they're putting their time in creating these pieces of content, right? And also there are a ton of people commenting and just pumping out those generic fake ass comments, right? Because if you do that, then probably they would smell you from a mile away because they're also receiving a ton of those every day, probably. So you need to really culminate this relationship within you. So I suggest you start with that and build a relationship from there. Um, if you have an idea to share with them, not just pitch right off the bat that you want to write for them, you want to get a backlink from them, because that's that they're getting a ton of that already. So my take on a one-to-one approach is that you establish that relationship, kind of create if they would be interested in uh collaborating with you, not really on just getting a backlink. Probably if you have an offer for them, let's say for example your business is a digital marketing business and you have your own tool, probably you could give them a copy of your own tool, a sample of your own tool, give them a better key or whatnot, just kind of get the word going and give out free samples, again providing more value, just taking up on that idea and building up on it, provide value towards this, right? So that should be your main goal for the initial contact for building these relationships and contacting these websites. Yeah. So that's how you build relationships for these websites. Then that's my approach on there. Um. Okay. So going back to Earth, going back to off-page SEO. There are also a ton of tactics that we could employ in getting more backlinks, right? So again, we could also utilize social media presence. We could post, let's say, for example, you want to get more traction for a great piece of content that you already published in your own blog, in your own website. Then you could share that over to the link over to your social media page or your own personal page and just get the traction going. But just take into consideration that these are not actual backlinks, because links from social media, these are no follow links. All right. So dealing more, yeah. Introduction more, just a segue to what are no follow links and follow links. Okay, so moving on. As I mentioned, social media posts and having your links in social media, those are no follow. What do I mean by no follow links? Those are tags generated in the code of your website or on the platform, not on your website. Um, those are tags that signals to crawl engines, search engine crawlers, to not follow those links, because the way how Google works is that they crawl everything in the internet, right? So they know everything that's going on. If you updated your post, apart from giving them instructions not to follow the link, then they wouldn't consider that. Also, this is just a way. The no follow tag was invented for Google and for other SEOs before, to kind of abuse the power of backlinks, because some are just spamming the links in comment threads, in forums, and yeah, social media, right? So if you have a ton of backlinks there, and if those are do follow links, then Google will follow those links, then it could be easily ranking for it. But this is just a structure for there to kind of be as a safe or security lock for for people not to abuse the power of social media. But then again, even if you mention to Google that they should not follow the links or crawl those links, you will still be getting traction, because again, real people will be following that links towards your post, meaning you're still getting traction. Let me give this for an example. We all know Forbes, right? Forbes magazine, yep. The big company, yep. Um, if you could land a backlink from Forbes, you be featured on Forbes, then that's a great sign. That's a great marketing, right? Because they're well known. But the links that they're providing, as far as to my knowledge, those links are no follow links. But why do we still strive for them? Because they have a great following. They're a huge brand. So we tend to get more value even if the link is no follow. Okay, so I hope that makes sense, guys. So those are just a brief overview of what a no follow link. So
You get the traffic is actually human beings who are coming to that link are clicking that and coming to your website. So that becomes a referral again. So it's though no follow for the, but at the end of the day, people are following, right?
yep, people are still could still follow the link. This is just a way to kind of put a hold on those spammy links before. So yeah,
Genesis, I'll put forward a question by Sachin. When it
sure.
comes to site speed, what other factors, what other aspect we should consider improving the site speed rather than compressing the image, remove unused CSS and JavaScript, minify code, remove render blocking, except with all what we can consider to improving site speed. I think Sachin, you have all yourself given so many answers of what all we can do to site speed. Genesis, could you please add on to any aspect that we can look into?
Well, I'm not really much into the development side of things, into the technical side of things when it comes to, because those are a bit more technical for my understanding. But from what I've done before to actually increase the site speed, there are other ways for us to, because again, you could only do so much in optimizing, crunching the numbers for the code to be, compressed and whatnot, for those CSS files to be compressed and whatnot. Um, there are other things that we could do to for us to increase the site speed, right, to get faster loading times. So there are other factors that you could consider, such as where is your server located and what is the traffic that you're targeting. Let's say, for example, like from for if you have traffic from US only, then probably it would be a great idea to get your website hosted inside the US vicinity, right? Rather than getting servers from outside the US. So something like that. You could research that more and into your hosting providers. Um, there are also structures or plugins there. It's a good thing that I've already been in touch with developers nowadays. There's a thing called lazy loading. What it does is it doesn't actually load your whole site as a whole. So, for example, if I'm the visitor, I requested for the website to load, the lazy loading allows your browser to display already the website, even though if the other aspects or elements of your website is not loaded below. The only time that it will load the elements or the factors on the other on the lower portions of your website, if you scroll down, is when you actually scroll down. That way, you'll just be loading per request, not just loading the whole web page as a whole. So yeah, I hope that helps. If you know about it already, then those are some of the things that I could just share for now.
Great, great. I think you've answered that.
All right, nice. So should we continue on with the off page?
I'll be asking question in between. There are a lot of them, but we'll take one and one.
Yeah, yeah, no worries, no
So
worries. I'm glad to help
that
out. I'm glad to help out.
yeah, please.
Anyhow, all right, so continuing on, we're done with the what type of links are out there. No follow and do follow. Actually, back in March, they implemented new tags, so-called sponsor tags and UGC tags. So sponsored tags, it's just a discretion from the site owners that says that the post, the link is a sponsored one, meaning sponsored, it's paid, right? Because Google really frowns on just buying links. Sorry, yeah, Google really frowns on just buying links, right? You're not really endorsing, but just buying and bullying your way, and creating that fake authority, if you will. So they're trying to minimize that with all these implementation of the tags. Also, I have in here listed is the link velocity. Link velocity is somewhat take this for example, okay? You're a new website. Google doesn't know you. A ton of people doesn't know you yet. All right. But then suddenly, after 2 months of your website being up, you're getting a ton of backlinks. Let's say, for example, you bought 100 backlinks, for $10,000, right? You have a lot of money to spend on to get your organic marketing and ranking up. You spend $10,000 on 100 links for a website. That is not that is just not really advisable because that gives off the signal that you just bought the links. You didn't allow um any maturity for your website. So that's why for any SEO campaign that I built, I try to start out link building probably on the third or fourth month. Because again, especially if that's a new website, right? You want to ease in the number of links that you're kind of getting the website, because we don't want to give off any signals that we're just buying the links and whatnot. Of course, some of the other SEO out there are just trying to buy the links, right? But uh let's say for example you're buying the links per month. Let's say a set number of links, let's say 10 links per month, right? You're still on the constant 10 links per month. Then also that also gives off signals to Google that why are you constantly getting the said number of links, because again, if you're trying to link build in the white hat way, you would be getting an uneven number of links per month, because again, it would take time for you to build these relationships with the website for you to land the backlinks on, right?
Here
So
comes a very good question. What is white hat and what is a black hat SEO? What is a white hat?
sure. Okay, so white hat SEO are the techniques that we employ that is in accordance to Google's rules and what they published on, because Google doesn't really reveal all of the rules that incorporates their algorithms and all the algorithm updates out there. Well, we just know that there are rules that they push out that is considered a black hat. Let's say, for example, link buying is one of them. Spamming, having a kind of gimmicking your way in SEO wise, like keyword stuffing. It's not actually black hat, but it's not really done nowadays. But some are into code injecting. There are programs out there so that code injects competitors. Kind of uh disrupting or destroying the website, or giving some unknown virus or something like that along the lines of the codes of the website. Those are just black hat techniques. Registering your competitor to unknown sites, spamming them, with Viagra links or something like that. Those are just black hat techniques that's being frowned upon by Google, and it gets you penalized. So yeah, if Google caught you buying links, if Google gets a sniff and kind of see that, let's say for example, take my example at the beginning, that you're a brand new website, then you suddenly got 100 or 50 links in just 1 month, right? Then Google might be catching up onto you with that, and they will bring down the hammer with the penalty there.
So, are there any ways by which, say, for example, some of the sites just give us a link? They put the link on their site, and later on you realize that this is a backlink to your website, and this is a spamming site. How do I just remove that backlink? Is there any way to remove that?
Yes, yes, there are ways to remove that. What you could do is, if you have any tool to get your backlink profile form, you could download it, and then what you could do is you could see all the domains that you're getting your backlinks from. Ahrefs is a great tool, guys. I'm not any way sponsored by Ahrefs, but that's the main tool that I use for for seeing my backlink profile. So just to give you an example of that, let's go into. our account here. Say for example, this one, right? This is one of the sites that I'm handling. What you could see here is the number of referring domains, right? So 51. There are 51 different domains that's referring our website, cattravelguide.com. So from there, you could review the said domains if they meet the criteria of what you're looking for with the backlink. So let's say for example, I'll take this one, right? Techniques.xyz. It's a domain rating 0, so I don't like that. Let's say, for example, I don't like that website to be counted as my backlink. So what we do, take note of the website, and you could create and upload a disavow file towards your Google Search Console. All right,
Okay.
so that's where you kind of say to Google, hey, disavowing links from the said website, and Google will take note of that, and they won't count the links from those said websites. Kind of, yeah, disavowing them, kind of disregarding them to be counted towards your backlink profile.
Which, say for example, some of the sites just give us a link. They put the link on their site, and later on you realize that this is a backlink to your website, and this is a spamming site. How do I just remove that backlink? Is there any way to remove that?
Yes, yes, there are ways to remove that. What you could do is, if you have any tool to get your backlink profile form, you could download it, and then what you could do is you could see all the domains that you're getting your backlinks from. Ahrefs is a great tool, guys. I'm not any way sponsored by Ahrefs, but that's the main tool that I use for for seeing my backlink profile. So just to give you an example of that, let's go into our account here. Say for example, this one, right? This is one of the sites that I'm handling. What you could see here is the number of referring domains, right? So 51. There are 51 different domains that's referring our website, cattravelguide.com. So from there, you could review the said domains if they meet the criteria of what you're looking for with the backlink. So let's say for example, I'll take this one, right? Techniques.xyz. It's a domain rating 0, so I don't like that. Let's say, for example, I don't like that website to be counted as my backlink. So what we do, take note of the website, and you could create and upload a disavow file towards your Google Search Console. All right,
Okay.
so that's where you kind of say to Google, hey, disavowing links from the said website, and Google will take note of that, and they won't count the links from those said websites. Kind of, yeah, disavowing them, kind of disregarding them to be counted towards your backlink profile. Right. So yeah, thank. Those are actually more technical questions. So I'm really excited to help you answer that. Okay. So yeah, going about, I've talked about link velocity and how important it is to keep in mind that depending on where your website is currently standing now. Um, Okay, so talking about more tactics for link building, I have listed here tiered link building and GMB link building. All right, so GMB link building is just beefing up your Google My Business listing, but instead of having your having backlinks toward your actual website, you would point other websites towards your GMB listing, right? What you could do there, just go into your GMB listing or go into Google, see your Google there, get the link for a shareable one, just to go about it again. Uh, yeah, let's take for example, roofing near me, something like that. So yeah, so there it is. Let's say for example, and I'll take one GMB listing here. All right. Where's the share button? Huh, weird. Okay, so not sure. Maybe they don't have it here, but there should be an option here for you to share the link. And from there you could just copy that link, and then you could have that. You could link back towards that. All right, because when you paste that link, it will give you directly to the GMB listing of, let's say, let me hold on. Let me just give you this example here. Oh no, it took me to the website. Yeah, I'm not sure because it might be because of my own locality here in the Philippines. But usually there should be a share button here wherein you could just copy paste that link and have that anchored towards the backlinks that you have there to kind of boost your GMBs. Also, another way to boost your GMB in line with link building is directory citations, right? So go into local citations, just Google your local citations from wherever you are, post your details there, post your business name, your address, your opening times. It just gives off the signal to Google that you're a legitimate business. You're registered here over to the listings. I kind of consider it as an online yellow pages if you guys have um if you know what yellow pages are, the old school thick phone book numbers thing. Anyhow, yeah, those are the things considered for GNB link building. And for tiered link building, there are some other studies out there that, let's say, a tiered link building just means that um, this is not really as a tricky way of doing it for Google, but it's almost um, people are doing this for, excuse me, people are trying to do this because they don't want other people to kind of replicate their strategies, if you will. What I mean by that, example, if you have a website, hold on, let me try to draw this out for you. Sorry guys, I'm not good in paint, but just want to prove a point here. Let's say for example, this is your website, right? So box one is your main website, right? And you have a backlink here, a great backlink here. So people, when they try to spy on your website, when competition try to spy on your website, what they would see is only one backlink here, right?
Okay.
So if they plug in that into the tools, they would see only one backlink, and they're baffled because you're ranking number one for specific keyword. What they don't know is that this website here, right, is full of other links. So that's why it's called tiered link building. This website is full of other links pointing towards and sharing the article that has your anchored link on this level of the website. So if you kind of see what I'm going out here, this is actually the structure of a tiered link building structure. So this is actually a sneaky way to kind of fool competition, but this is kind of hard to do because again, um, getting people, if you have a ton of resources and assets out there, you could leverage that into creating tiered link building structures. Most of tiered link building structures before kind of just dwells in with web 2.0s, WordPress websites, something like that. But those websites do not carry any more weight in that. But if you could build something like this with legitimate websites, right, then this could be a very powerful way of building your backlink profile. But again, I would stay away from just creating, Web 2.0s. Some are still utilizing PBNs. Those are just private blog networks. That means just they own that website. Um, Again, those kind of fall in the gray hat category of things. But if you get caught by Google utilizing PBN, definitely you will be penalized. But if not, then probably you could get away with it. But then again, it's just a matter of time before you get caught, right? So yeah, those are just some of the structures or techniques employed with others for link building. All right. So yeah, and if you guys want to, I'm also just done with discussing the tips and other stuff here for off page. And just to cap us off for the night, I do have 10 takeaways for you guys for you to build start your link building careers or your link building processes, right? So yeah, just kind of going over this quickly. Never use who is. Who is you could just type that on Google. It's just a website wherein you could extract information, right? So never use those to grab information contact because most of the information there are the scraped information there are personal contact emails of let's say for a site. Most of the time, people don't usually want to receive emails like this because again, we're trying to establish a relationship, and uh, us or them receiving an unsolicited email from us, right, kind of looks creepy in a way, like kind of stalker-ish in a way. So let's try to refrain from that. All right. So number two is invest in an outreach tool. There are a ton of outreach tools out there, guys. I've used yeah, I forgot those, but there are a ton of email outreach tools out there that you could use, that you could integrate a ton of things, so that would make your life easier for your outreach campaigns, such as this one. Number three is don't be over the top. You may come off as cheesy, being over the top, just putting too much on an email, kind of making it hard to read and whatnot. You come off as cheesy and whatnot. Don't try also to avoid putting jokes in there because humor doesn't really convey very well over email. So people might take that in the wrong way, right? So just be straightforward and try to be genuinely interested, and the tone of being interested when you conduct these emails, right? Number four is always validate your emails. All right. Validating email means checking if the email that you have vetted or have listed in your own campaigns is an actual email, because you'll be spending time in sending so much email that scraping emails on getting to see if the emails are actually valid will save you a lot of time, right? So yeah, just a tip there. Number five is leverage your assets you already have. All right. Now, what I mean by that is you have already established. Let's say, for example, you have already established a relationship with a website owner who happens to have a ton of a number of websites. Then you could probably get more clients and just plug in and can try to see if you could land backlinks from there. Just kind of utilizing your relationships there and assets that you have. All right, guys, we're already finished. Number six, don't give generic compliments, as I've mentioned earlier, right? Because people can see that a mile away. If you have any templates right there, please remove the brackets, the quotations and whatnot. Just be mindful of what you're putting in your email, and again, always come from a place of help or a place of genuine concern and wanting to give value towards them, because that's how you stand out from a ton of emails that they're receiving daily. Also, showing them a face behind the email, kind of having a signature in your email, gives off this, at least um, they ease off on you because they know you're a real person. You're not just some sort of robot, sending all those emails or an email automated campaign, right? So just genuinely uh, being authentic, if you will. Number eight is, I think, the most important part of this because yeah, you gotta follow up. You gotta follow up. Most of the sales or most of the relationship being built usually happens, if not on the third, that will be almost on the seventh or the 12th follow up. So never forget to follow up because you always want to stay on top of their email, on their inbox, because again, they're receiving a ton of these, and they're if they're constantly seeing you there popping up, giving reminders, then definitely one of these times they will respond to you. But again, don't be just go overboard with follow-ups, following up every day, right? So just be on a timely, probably a weekly or monthly follow-up, something along those lines, right? At least giving value as well. And lastly, last before the least, um, don't write perfect emails, and don't be like everyone else in their inbox. Use different approach, use different font. At least if they saw you in this ton of list and you have different font, of course that will catch your eye, right, in your email list. And for the perfect emails, try to sound more natural. Having an impeccable grammar and perfect capitalization, gives off a templated feeling, right? That and make deliberate, yeah, that this is a deliberate mistake here. Make deliberate mistake in spacing and capitalization, right? To at least get a more natural feeling that a human being actually typed this. There are errors in this, right? I see his face, right, and he's following up. He has a different font, and of course they have no choice but to be not really attracted, but at least to get their attention, right? So
Okay.
yeah, that concludes it. And yeah, I hope you guys learned a lot from it. Okay, you're seeing my screen right now, right?
Yes. Mhm.
Okay, just going back to the content strategy, the content calendar that I created here. So I created this whole cluster here for me to rank for the word car accidents.
Mm.
All right, that's a big keyword, right? Those are just two words, meaning it's a short tail keyword, which means it would carry a lot of search volumes, right? So my plan on for us to rank for car accidents is to create content around that said keyword. See here, my main article is dealing with car accidents, right? And the next ones is big rig accidents, collisions compacted serious injuries. So I'm dealing with LSI, or related keywords that pertains or would mean or would be directed, all the terms that could be associated with car accidents, wrongful deaths involving pedestrians, police reports, right? And the way I structure this is when I instruct someone to write this, I create a template. I create a template wherein I would be breaking down all the research that I did. I would be taking in consideration the questions that people might be genuinely asking, or in Google's people also ask question, if you notice that in Google searches, right? I take those topics, I use them as my subtopics here, and I just
Yeah.
create a variation of the keywords here. Let's say, for example, for the introduction, I would need to have car accident attorney in that. And for the body, for the first subtopic, the statistics of car accidents, Elisa is road traffic injury, something like that. That's my main goal of how I structure the content, right? Not really just pumping it and stuffing it with repetitive keywords, but you need to have other keywords there that correlate in order for you to rank better for the search term.
Thank you so much, Genesis. And it was great session. And thank you for sparing out the time. We have almost 40 minutes above the timeline, but then people are still there. Thank you so much. We'll definitely call you for another session. And you will have to definitely give us more and more ideas and strategies and thoughts on SEO. We will keep waiting for you for coming up with more and more things.
Yeah,
Keep
sure. Just
sharing things on LinkedIn. People will be following you. And I have, for the attendees, I have mentioned the website and the YouTube channel and the LinkedIn IDs of mine and Genesis. You can connect to us and you can ask any question that you want there on LinkedIn. And we are available on Instagram, Facebook. So you can connect with us on any of the platform. It was a really nice session. Thank you so much, Genesis.
thank you guys as well. I really welcome the patronage and the interaction here. Anyhow, yeah, there will be another time.
Yeah. Thank you so much, guys. Bye
All
bye.
right, cheers. Bye bye for now.
And you will get the recording on the YouTube channel of Digital Bytes. So go and subscribe to this channel, and you will get recording there in some time. Thank you so
Oh,
much for
nice.
tuning in. Thank you,
Yeah,
Jim.
thank you. Bye,
Thank
guys.
you. Bye
Thank you.
bye.